I'm Insomniac, and this is the cheapest automotive air pump on Amazon. Welcome back to Cheapest on Amazon, the channel where I literally buy the absolute cheapest thing on Amazon in particular categories that might be useful. Because as most of you know, there are a lot of big bargains on Amazon, a lot of really surprising prices, but sometimes it seems too good to be true. The whole idea here, as you've seen in the last 10 videos if you're subscribed to this channel, is basically to pick the cheapest thing for these categories available on Amazon and see if we have gold or garbage. And so far we've been surprised with a couple of things that I've purchased for surprisingly low prices that weren't so bad. Some of the other stuff, we got what we paid for. So today we're looking at an air compressor. You might be thinking, compared to everything else that you've reviewed, who cares about an air compressor? Well, this specifically is one of those automotive air pumps that you plug into the lighter plug. This way, if your tires are low or you get a flat or something like that, you can reinflate it. A lot of those are very expensive and they're very important. This is something that you should have on hand, not maybe specifically this one. We're going to see if this is any good. But one of these 12 volt DC air compressor things, this is definitely something that you should have in the car. So what did I pay for this? I actually don't remember. I'll pop it up here on screen somewhere. And here it is. Here's the box. Okay, and it looks like it comes with a few attachments so you can pump up basketballs and footballs, stuff like that. A couple other little things. The brand here is EP Auto, which that doesn't sound familiar. Let me take a look at the link. I'm going to put a picture up here of the unit that I ordered on Amazon, and take a look here at the picture on the box. I'm pretty sure that that's not what I ordered, so I think they sent me a mini automotive air pump, but I don't think they sent the one that they actually have in the ad. They have multiple pictures of it here, and this is definitely not it. All right, let's open the box. This here is what I got. So again, it is an automotive air pump. So they did at least send me an automotive air pump, but this is definitely not the one I ordered. Now this does appear to have a built-in pressure gauge like the one that I ordered, and it does come with a few accessories. They're actually stuck in the back here. Not 100% sure what these two do. And here's a ball pin that comes in handy for a lot of cool things. And tucked in here, you have your standard end for a car tire, bike tire, whatever kind of tire. And a long plug here, so you can plug it into the car. Obviously, that's how you use this. Oh, and there's more hose in here. Good, I was going to say, that's really short. That won't really reach the valve stem on a tire if it's up higher without you having to move the car. So yeah, actually that's got some good length to it now that I found the rest of it. Physically, there's really not much to talk about here. It's a piece of square plastic. You have an on-off switch right here, and you have a pressure gauge, which hopefully works. Most of the time on these, even on more expensive units, they don't. I'm going to use an old school pressure gauge to test against this to see whether or not it works. And mostly I just want to see whether or not it works, because I've bought pumps that are quite a bit more expensive than this that I won't say they can't pump up a car's tire, but like let's say you have a flat, you'll be there for about a half hour trying to put 33 or 34 pounds of pressure in that tire. And before everybody goes automotive expert down in the comments there, obviously not all tires take the same air pressure, so calm down. But anyway, we've done about all we could do in here. It is an automotive air pump, so let's go outside and see if it works. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm not outside. And that is because right after I turned off the camera, I actually spoke to my kick-ass assistant here who ordered this. He's not an assistant as in works for or with the channel necessarily. He's a friend of mine who's been ordering some of the cheapest on Amazon stuff because he's awesome. And apparently Amazon did not just randomly send me a different model. The other one was out of stock, and now the link that you'll see in the video description is for this one. This is currently now the cheapest automotive air pump on Amazon. So all of the things about sending the wrong pump you can now disregard. Let's pretend I didn't make all of those mistakes that I can't edit out. And now let's go outside and see if this works. Okay, so we have a car. We have some tires. I'm not taking the air out of these tires. There we go. Okay, so literally the only point of pulling my car out is so we could power the pump. Because like I said, I don't really feel like deflating any of my tires all the way. I'm going to take all the air out of this Goodyear here. and then we're gonna plug in the pump. We're gonna see how long it takes. I'm gonna put a timer on screen, how long it takes to completely refill this tire with this pump. We'll see if it even works. We will see if the built-in pressure gauge is actually accurate. And like I said, I am going to double check it with this old school gauge that actually does work. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Okay, so this doesn't look flat, but that's only because it's not on a car. I let out enough air that it literally does not even register anything on the gauge. There's nothing left in here. Flat. So let's plug this in and see how it does. Start the timer.
Oh, yo!
Insomniac.
Okay, we're gonna pause here. This says that we're at 20 PSI. I just wanna go ahead and check it with the gauge. Then we will keep the timer running. We're gonna try to get it up to 30. We are at 17. Yeah, the gauge is definitely off on the pump. Not that I'm surprised, I guess. Anyway, let's continue till we hit 30 on the gauge that's actually on the pump. Okay, so this says that we are at 30 PSI. Alright, we're showing 28.5. So actually not nearly as far off on the machine gauge as I thought we were going to be. So that's not bad. And 28.5 pounds is definitely more than enough to get you home if you have to pump up a car tire. So it worked. Okay, so a couple things to note from that small test we just did. First of all, this did pump up a tire from 0 PSI to almost 30 PSI painfully slowly, although I expected that for the size of this pump, but it actually did it without getting too hot. Now I've probably had like 10 different small air compressor automotive pumps that you plug into the car, and most of them get brutally hot, even if you're just adding some air to all 4 tires to get the pressures right. This one actually did better than I expected. Also, one small thing I like about this cheap unit is that it actually uses a threaded end, so it screws on to the valve stem, instead of most of the kind of cheaper air pumps that I've used have that little thing where you press down this little lever, which engages the little valve inside to push down on the valve stem and let the air in. Those are not only a pain in the ass to use in general, but they usually pop off once you start getting higher in the pressure. This you literally screw on, which is great. The cord is more than long enough that it actually fit up and over into the window, into the middle of the car, and I was pumping up a tire at the rear of my car, so you have good length there. Like I said, the hose length here is very good, so this way even if the wherever the car is stopped, the valve stem is up on top, this should reach it unless you're pumping up a truck tire. And despite not being totally accurate, the PSI gauge on here is close enough that you'd get roughly the right amount of air in there. I mean, you're not going to be using this obviously on race day to get the air pressures right in your tires. This is just to pump something up and get going. Although I do find it funny that this has 120 PSI gauge on here. You'd never be able to pump anything up to 120 PSI with this little pump. The only giant question mark here is long-term use. Obviously, everything I do on this channel is initial impressions kind of reviews, not long-term. I don't know how long this is going to last. At the same time, this is not the type of tool that you should have to use every day or even every week. I actually have a couple neighbors around here where they'll have a slow leak in one of their tires and you'll see them every other day using one of these little things. Listen, if your tires are at that point, it's time to get new tires. Stop pumping them up. But my point here is that this should be for emergency use or just for adding a little bit of air to something that's been sitting. So to be honest, based on that small test and my initial impressions with this little unit here, it's actually worth that price. Holy crap, we found another thing here at Cheapest on Amazon that actually is good for the money. And this is supposedly a mini portable unit. Well, you can see there on screen that it's small. Literally about half of this is just cable storage. Of course, getting all of this tucked back in there nicely is a bit of a chore, but who really cares about that? The point is, this is small enough and light enough that you could tuck it basically anywhere in the car, the garage, whatever. In fact, it's so small you'd probably wind up losing it. But yeah, this was surprisingly not as bad as I thought. I knew it was going to take a while to pump up a tire from empty, but it's a really small pump, so I mean, I'm not surprised. Yeah, there's really not much else to talk about here. This is an air pump. You plug it in, you attach it to whatever you're pumping up, you turn it on. If you have one of these, leave a comment down below. Tell everybody else what you think about it. As per always, I will have the link to this product down in the video description. If you have any suggestions for things you'd like to see me review here at Cheapest on Amazon, leave those down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming up, including a couple of products that are somewhere over there on the floor. Yep, there they are. That we have coming up soon for review. So, yes, keeping it going around here. I'll see you all next time.